Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the misconception about twin-engine airplanes, and that's the idea that because you have two, we're just a funky plane if we lose one. Now the important thing to know is when you have big airliners with twin engines, those airplanes are designed and engineered that they have excessive power. They can really get going, and they can get going hard. Us down here in a Beechcraft Bonanza, we have these two lovely engines, but we also have this Bonanza. What did I say? A Baron. But believe it or not, we're actually very limited in how much performance we have in the event that we lose an engine. Because remember, if it takes these two engines to get us in the air, if we're missing one of those, that's going to make things much more interesting for us. So to demonstrate this today, what we're going to do is we're going to take my right engine and we're going to take it completely out. Now, to help us out a little bit today, I'm actually going to feather that propeller as well. The reason I'm doing that, of course, is to make this a slightly easier experiment. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to get in the air. And we have here Groton Airport. We're a good old-fashioned 3-3, plenty of room to take off. And we're going to try to stack the bench as best we can here. And I don't think it's going to go well, but it's just going to give you just understand just how bad this is. So I'm going to automatically stick my left foot pretty far forward here. And I'm going to go give myself a little bit. And, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. I'm actually going to have to reduce power. I don't have enough elevator authority to do this. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. There it goes. I'm getting elevator authority. There we go. Elevator authority. Nice. Here we go. I like how the propeller on the other side did not feather. I told it to feather. It is not feathering. And we're doing about 50. That's 60. Keep in mind we're going to be under our minimum controllable speed here. There's 70. Going to pull the nose up. Oh my gosh. My best friend right now is screaming at the screen. He's like, nope, you can't do it. 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 Okay, so we almost did not do it. Okay, so right now, as you can see from the amount of work that this is taking me to keep this thing stable, we're struggling. We're struggling bad. And as a matter of fact, I still have my flaps down. And the reason I kept my flaps down is I need a little bit more buffer so that I can desperately try to get us over to where the Connecticut River is on my left here to allow me to stick the nose back down. This aircraft is absolutely loaded right now. It doesn't get any more loaded than this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my aircraft inside of the minimum controllable speed. Oh my gosh. Oh boy. And we're going to get to our best single engine climb speed. Oh my gosh. And we're getting somewhere. So this is one of the things I find very interesting here is one of the reasons I chose my example of this particular airplane is I wanted to pick one that was a little overpowered. So if you actually take a look here, we're doing 104 knots, which is pretty good. I'm at my VY right now, and I'm doing about 400 or 500 feet per minute. So I'm about Cessna climb rates right now, even though I'm only on one single engine, my left engine. Now, for those of you who watched my takeoff there, you probably would have realized that if I stomped on the gas, I would have gone right off the runway because I would have had excess power on one side. And basically, I couldn't do anything until I got it all nice and stable, which is just to give you an idea of how challenging that is. But the real fun here, and this is the part that I always think people don't realize when it comes to the challenge of flying with a single engine here, is when you try to put the plane back on the ground. Now, our climb here is it's marginal. It's okay. It's not great. It's not great. But we're trying to keep the plane into the controllable speed here. Now, because we don't have that working engine, if we start getting slow, we run the risk of a very dangerous uncontrolled spin because, again, just power on one side. Likewise, now that we're not going to have enough authority on the elevator, I should say rudder, we're not going to be able to control it once we start getting slow, which now means my approach becomes a new problem. And that's because we're going to have to keep our speed up in order to maintain controllability of the aircraft. But because we have so much of this extra little lack of engine here, we also need to keep in mind that we can't use full flaps to land because we won't have enough power to overwhelm them if things don't go our way. Which again, when you put those two factors together, you realize how incredibly scary this is, which is why when you do your multi-engine training, you spend so much time concentrating on this. Now, we have one good piece of news, and that's the fact that when I pull the throttle back, the aircraft actually becomes easier to control, which is something people didn't expect because we don't have that asymmetrical thrust hitting us nearly as bad there. So I'm a little hot, I'm a little fast, and I'm doing this intentionally because I want to try to keep this pretty smooth here. Now this is going to be an exercise in some really fancy footwork. I'm actually going to put that second notch of flaps down just to help slow me down. There we go. I just needed just a little bit of extra push there. Nice. So we're going to keep us a little hot and a little high. Now remember, when you put power in, you need twice as much power. But as the power comes in, you also need to remember that you need to apply an equal amount of extra foot. Remember, dead foot, dead engine kind of a thing like that. So we're going to pretend as if we're coming in kind of with a crosswind here. That's about 112 knots. Looks pretty good. And again, perfectly controllable at this speed. At lower speeds, we're going to lose controllability. That's an important concept. And we're about over the end of the runway there. Go ahead and bring it to neutral. We have plenty of airspeed, and we're just going to coast it in rather than try to bring it in kind of conventionally here. Because if we try to bring it in conventionally, this thing's going to be quite a pain in the butt for us. There we go. Nice commercial landing there. And we're just going to keep the plane under control. The drag will be asymmetrical also. Like what you can't see here is how much work I've been using with the ailerons. And we're going to be easy on the brakes. Remember, there's asymmetrical drag now, which is going to affect our braking performance. And you can see as we start to come down, it actually feels weird. It keeps pulling to the right. We are nice and safe on the ground. So as you can see, having the benefit of two engines there does kind of help us out. We were basically able to avoid crashing into those trees by about 6 inches. Like I said, my good friend there would see that and say, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to do that. And I agree. Now, this aircraft is also an exceptionally modern, exceptionally high-performance version of this plane. If we had a more classic version, that would have gone terribly. The other thing you probably observed too was the fact that we were able to only maintain control of the plane on the ground because of the rudder, not because of the nose wheel. No amount of fancy footwork. Oh my gosh, you have to push the pedal down so hard to turn now. No amounts of fancy footwork was going to save us there. And you could see just how sketchy that was, but why it was so important to keep the speed up to maintain controllability. Enjoy.